Hey ho everybody, it's TC. I am here in response to Robert's On My Turntable. He is running another contest, another great contest. His push to 300 subscribers, he's calling it his October themed contest. This took me a long time, Robert, to come up with. I had to really think, and some of them I've taken my usual liberties with, just so you know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. He has 5 questions for us. So the first one is, the challenge is to spell October using names of artists. So that is what I've done. I'm going to spell it out this way. Number O is for OXO. I've shown this before. This is Ishla Desma's 1980s band. Had a hit with Whirly Girl. Great album. Next comes C. Eric Carmen's 1985 self-titled album includes his hit I Want to Hear It From Your Lips. This was his first release on Geffen and his first album in almost 6 years when it came out. I love Eric Carmen. This is a great, great album. T is for Tanya Tucker. This is her second album. What's Your Mama's Name? It features Blood Red and Going Down, also a big hit for her. Believe it or not, she's 14 in that picture. She was, very young when she started her career. Some great stuff. She's one of the few country artists that I really adored most of her career. So Tanya Tucker represents the T in October. For the second O, I've gone for the solo album from the Cars, Benjamin Orr, The Lace. I love this album. This features Stay the Night. Great song, wasn't as big a hit as it deserved to be. It was absolutely terrific. This album is great. It's very not Cars, and there's a lot in the line. I was never a huge fan of Rick Ocasek's solo stuff, but I also love the L.A. Easton solo album that came out, although I don't have it. This one I do, and it's great. Benjamin Orr's The Lace. Up to B now, the classic new wave album from the Buggles, The Age of Plastic. This features their breakthrough hit Video Killed the Radio Star, which became the representation of the MTV video era. Trevor Horn, of course, went on to be part of Yes later. I'll be showing them their other album a little bit later, too. The Age of Plastic from the Buggles, 1979. For the E in October, I've gone to Yvonne Elliman. Anybody else remember Yvonne? She had a big hit with If I Can't Have You from Saturday Night Fever. This is the album called Love Me, features Love Me and Hello Stranger, 2 more big hits. Of course, she started her career as Mary Magdalene in the original production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Fantastic lady, still performing in her native Hawaii. Terrific, terrific sounding album. And finally, for the benefit of certain people who shall remain nameless, R is represented by the only album by Rush that I own. This, of course, it features The Spirit of Radio and a few of their other big hits, I believe. I think, is this Tom Sawyer? No, Tom Sawyer's on the album before this. Spirit of Radio, Free Will, Jacob's Ladder were all on the radio at the time I was listening to heavy album rock radio, and this is the only album I own by them. So that spells October. Move these off to the side. Next, Robert wants us to do 5 to 10 albums that were released in October. I went through Wikipedia and checked the dates on these, so I came up with, I think, 5 or 6 albums. From October 1976, ABBA, their breakthrough album Arrival. This album features Dancing Queen and Knowing Me, Knowing You. This would become a classic album of the late 1970s and ensure ABBA's long-running success even to this day with the Mamma Mia franchise going. From October 1977, the most experimental album by Karen and Richard Carpenter, Passage. This album includes their hit All You Get From Love Is a Love Song, but is probably best known for their cover of Klaatu's Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft, and their only single to hit the country chart, Sweet, Sweet Smile. Only 8 tracks on the album. The only place on this album you can find their classic Carpenter's logo is really tiny on the back end, right there. from 1978 October, 1977 October, Passage. From October 1979, biggest selling album I think that Styx ever had. I think this outsold Grand Illusion. This is Cornerstone. It is best known for the hit Babe, also produced Why Me and one other hit, Too Much Time on My Hands, I believe. This album is unique in its weird little gatefold because it has the fold-out cover like this and another interior cover with all kinds of stuff and the lyrics on it. Terrific album, though. Cornerstone from Styx from October 1979. October of 1981 brought us the Buggles' follow-up to their album The Age of Plastic. This was Adventures in Modern Recording. This was the last album they would do before Trevor Horn joined Yes. They are just dynamite on both the albums. The only song that might be known from this album is On TV, which was a video hit in Europe, but not in the States. Still, just as good as the first album, Adventures in Modern Recording by the Buggles from October 1981. October 1983, one of the most known albums by Genesis. It's the one called Genesis. This has Mama, That's All, Illegal Alien, and Taking It All Too Hard. Just a Job to Do is also a known song. They're at their best here. The next album would also do well, Invisible Touch, which I don't have, but that didn't come out in October anyway, did it? Genesis from October 1983, and their self-titled album. From October 1984, I gotta look at the year, 84 or 85. October 1984, Wham's Make It Big. This would catapult George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley into worldwide superstardom with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Careless Whisper is included on the American pressing of this. It is not on the British pressing because in Britain it was a solo hit for George. This also has the original Freedom and I said Careless Whispers, and Everything She Wants, the original mix, not the single mix that would come out later, which is much better on the 12-inch than it is on the album. The same day, or within the same week period, 3 other albums came out that I didn't pull. Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Tommy Shaw's Girls with Guns, and Waking Up with the House on Fire, the second album from Culture Club. All came out at the same time as Make It Big by Wham from 1984. And finally, from 1986 in Australia and 1987, I believe, in the States, this album became one of the biggest selling albums in Australian history, had the biggest selling single in Australian history until sometime in the 2000s when Silverchair outdid it. And of course, the album and the single went nowhere. John Farnham's Whispering Jack. This contains You're the Voice, which was a #1 smash on Australia's charts that was so huge it held the record for longest run at #1 until I can't remember the title of the song. Straight Lines by Silverchair in 2006, I believe. John Farnham was originally first discovered as the follow-up singer to the Little River Band after Glenn Chirac left. And of course, he continues to be a true superstar in Australia, but he's never clicked in America. Only America doesn't find it great, but You're the Voice, one of my all-time favorite songs from October 1986. Okay, next up. Show 5 to 10 albums that are leaf-colored, red, yellow, or orange on the label. Okay, so these are going to get into my weird collections. Most of them are from my Teen Idol collection or my TV collections because they're the oldest and they have some really cool labels. But the first one does not. Going back to Cher's original run, Cher's was on the Cap label, and as you can see, red and orange on the original Cap 70s label. Terrific looking label. Gonna laugh. Travolta Fever. This is a collection of the 2 John Travolta albums that were released by Midland International in the mid-70s. Midland International's label is yellow in part, so I think that counts. Let me show you here. There you go. Definitely a leaf color. Not everybody, of course, is going to be a John Travolta fan, but it's fun. Did any of you guys know that Glenn Scarpelli actually made an EP in the 1980s? Scarpelli was best known for his role as Alex on One Day at a Time, also was in Jennifer Slept Here. He actually is not half bad. This label is the only thing I've ever seen on it. It's a subsidiary of Columbia. And it is Estate Recording Corporation, and it's kind of a brownish yellow. I don't know if you can see that or not. It doesn't really show up as brownish yellow, but it is. It's like a tannish yellow. Sorry, it's the best I could do. I didn't want to repeat any of the labels that were already done by Robert in his video, and I haven't watched any of the other videos yet because I didn't want to like check and see. But this is a great album. It didn't get as much attention as it should have. He turned out to be a passable singer. We'll talk about teen idols on future shows, and we'll get to him eventually. Another part of my collection is Saturday morning groups, groups that have recorded for Saturday morning, and I debated which one to go for, but I decided to go for the classic orange RCA Victor label, which is the label of the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys was a cartoon that ran from 1968 to 69, or 69 to 70. And in that particular version, they were a rock band, and the producers hired a real band to go around and record the music and tour. This is the second album, Wheels. I had the first one, too. Good pop, straight bubblegum pop music. Pretty good, too. So, RCA. And finally, I don't know how many of you guys remember this show from the 1980s. Kids Incorporated. This show produced Stacey Ferguson, a.k.a. Fergie. It also produced Rashawn Patterson, who's done very well as a soul performer. This particular album was, I believe this was after Martika, who was known as Marta Mario at the time, took off from the show. And these were put out by K-Tel with its orange and brown leaf-colored label. Of course, they were kind of like the original Kids Bop. But they did do well. Renee Sands, also from this group, I think that's the one in the pink skirt, went on to become Renee Sandstrom, and she was part of Wild Orchid a few years ago. So, as was Fergie before she joined the not the White Stripes. I'm sorry, Black Eyed Peas. It's late. It's after 10 o'clock. Okay. Scary themes or monsters. I'm at a loss here. I don't have a lot of heavy metal stuff with all the crazy, incredible artwork, but I did find some stuff that I thought qualified. I always was kind of creeped out by this album cover. It's Kilroy Was Here by Styx with the robotos in the corner and the fire. It implies violence. It's kind of very creepy. Not terribly scary, but a great album by Styx, nonetheless. Styx was one of my favorite bands back then. This isn't necessarily creepy, but it's just strange. Red Octopus from Jefferson Starship. Of course, this was their breakthrough as Starship. They had Miracles and was off this album. This is the album that made me a diehard Craig Chaquico fan. I have been a fan of his since this came out. I think he was 18 or 19 when this album came out. He was incredible. His New Age work, which has been going on, it's hard to believe, for almost 30 years now, is just phenomenal. And he's just one of the best guitarists on the planet. Jefferson Starship and their little creepy little heart octopus from Red Octopus. This is a great album cover, but the monster's kind of scary. I wouldn't want to run into this guy. He looks kind of like Lugia, if you're familiar with Pokemon. He looks very similar to Lugia. This is Asia's debut album. Of course, Heat of the Moment, that's one. Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell. Smile Has Left Your Eyes, all from this album. Great super band from the 1980s. Went the other way with this one. I'm going to take it out of the sleeve. This is actually more for the picture and the imagery. This is the soundtrack from Airport 1975. where you can see the man flying out of the airline, out of the little hole in the plane where the plane just crashed into it. I am a disaster movie buff. I have a show that I should be still doing, that I'm late doing, called Catastrophe Vortex. And Airport 75 is one of the worst ever of the big budgets. It's not as bad as the Concorde. The Concorde Airport 79 is terrible, but this movie has Charlton Heston and Karen Black eating scenery like you wouldn't believe, and also features Linda Blair and Helen Reddy. So it's definitely worth checking out at least once. It's terrible. But I think the picture's frightening. And then I have a picture, an album cover that will send shivers down the spines of everybody out there. I'm thinking of you, Mazzy. I'm thinking of you, Rachel. I'm thinking of everybody who are Beatles fans. It is the one album that sends shivers down their spine. The soundtrack from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Ah! The movie's terrible. The movie is terrible. We actually did it on our film podcast, Subject Cinema. We do a masochistic march every year. One year we did musicals, and we sat through this. Kim sat through it for the first time. I'd seen it before. The music isn't half bad, but the movie sucks. And this album scares every Beatles fan out there. Ah! I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Robert. That was tacky. I know you're a Beatles fan too. Finally, what do you want to accomplish with your channel? Yes, I'd like to monetize sometime. I've been a music fan since I was a kid. I mean, I was 3 or 4 when my mom started buying me records. And I've collected this. I mean, I'm almost 60, this massive collection behind me. I've always been about the music more than the collecting. I'm not really concerned about, trying to sell them, because I'm never going to sell them. Even if I don't listen to them. But knowing they're there in my collection, I can have them if I need them, I will be able to grab them. I'd love to be able to do something to earn a living doing this. We've been trying for 14 years to monetize a podcast. We have lots of loyal fans, not one of them willing to pay $5 a month on Patreon. So, I may have a Patreon set up at some point just for this channel, because I love the VC. I've had so much fun since coming here in July. But I'd like to merchandise some stuff, I'd love to see people walking around with the big Kirkham Report logo on their shirt, But mostly it's to have fun, and to meet people, and to make friends. I've made so many great friends here. Including all these people. I mean, I've talked regularly. I think the people I've gotten to know the best are probably Rachel, the Music Ma'am, who is always cool, and Adam at Record Crate, who has become a good friend. Had some communications with Steve at Value Vinyl, and Beth at Red Drum Records, and Chris Profi, Musically Obsessed, and Mike, Guitar Player 07, who is now Retro Spin Vinyl. Had to think to remember your channel name. And plus all the people that I've met just briefly doing contests, like Robert, like Glenn Calloway, Aaron Mutha Alamar, so many of these people that I watch. I mean, I've subscribed to over 100 just VC channels, over 100 of them. I don't get to watch all of them all the time, but I definitely try to check out the ones I love. And I've seen some people talk about some of the monetized channels, really giving them bad, oh, I don't watch that, they're monetizing. But, Record Spinner with Dylan is just a great show. I mean, he does some great stuff. The same with Too Many Records, Vinyl Eyes, Vinyl Rewind, even the Vinyl Guru. My God, Christina is so funny and so informative. And there's nothing wrong with monetizing stuff if you really want to do that. And if you've got a passion for what you do, I feel like an old man passing this, because all these guys that run these channels are probably at the oldest, maybe pushing 30. I know Dylan's 22, and I think Christina's 23, and all these. It makes me feel, it really makes me kind of crazy that I'm this old, and I'm like, back in my day, Back in my day, we couldn't do that stuff, but now we can, and everybody's making it fun, and I'd like to make it that way too. But if it doesn't happen, I'm still going to be here. I have lots of good music to share. I have lots of good people to talk to, and I love getting comments from people. And I hope you enjoy what I have to give you, and that goes for not just Robert, but everybody else. And I hope that you'll watch and continue to support my channel as well as Robert's, who has great stuff, and everybody else. So Robert, that's my entry for your October theme push to 300 subscribers. I hope you get there soon. Considering you just passed 200, it's probably going to take a little bit, but this is going to help push it forward. And I'm looking forward to the next great contest, because your contests always throw me off. The Animate one was so much fun. This one was so much fun. I'm really looking forward to what else you come up with. Okay, that's it for now. Until next time, I'm TC. Bye-bye.